Hello and welcome to this game review. So in this one, we had quite an interesting battle in which you won a piece quite early on and had some difficulties converting. So in the opening, we had some trouble formulating some kind of a plan. So we have the advanced French structure. So already we must understand what we are trying to do. And generally what White is trying to do is he is trying to stabilize the position so that the black doesn't ruin his great pawn structure. And then he should at some point be trying to play f5 or some kind of other way to attack on the king side because this pawn is on e5 and this suggests that our space is on the king side. This is where we must play. So queen b6. Firstly about blunder checks. Knight e4, it seems you did not really blunder check this move because after queen a5 you went back. So what was the point here? Why did we go back? The only thing I can understand would be that you didn't see queen a5 as a check. If he goes back, then maybe the knight is kind of well placed here, but still in the opening we must not forget our goals, and our goals are to develop pieces, not to attack the queen as early on, right? Okay, here he plays c4, and now the pawn structure has been defined, because it's clear that he will not be able to capture here anymore. So black has a very obvious plan, which is to play on the queen side, because this is where his pawn structure looks. Should be playing b5, b4 to kick away this knight, then a5, a4, eventually some kind of b3 or a3, trying to destroy the queen side. While white, of course, should be aiming for the king side. So bishop e3 and queen d2. So white decided to castle queen side, which is a very strange decision if we understand what black should be doing. He should be playing b5, b4, opening up the queen side, so why would our king be safe there? He wouldn't. Instead, white should just castle on the king side and play f5 as soon as possible. Already here f5 could be played because, well, here, let's say after b5, f5 could be played with the idea to attack this. Now we cannot take because of the pin, but for example, after the move knight g5, we can start some kind of attacks with e6, bishop f3, and white has a big initiative because black did not develop his pieces, and he should be doing quite well. Okay, queen d2, and eventually white castled queenside, but this is very dangerous. After this, bishop e4. Again, white had trouble kind of understanding what's going on here. And here you decided to play the move g3. This kind of hard to justify because what exactly is your plan? Is your plan to develop the bishop to h3? Well, what is the plan of developing the bishop to h3? Is it to attack with f5? If so, you can just attack with f5 here, right? Or maybe prepare it with g4 and then f5. But okay, g3 and now a3. So a3 is also a mistake because this is what's called a hook. A hook is a pawn on near the king that can be used by the opponent to open up the position. So for example, now he moves the bishop away. Now he can move the queen. He can play b5 as intended. And when he plays b4, unfortunately, he will force open the position because of this pawn in a3. So he will either take it or we will be forced to take to open up the a file. So this is a long-term problem, this move a3, which did not really help our position. Now h4, and again, it's hard to understand what exactly are you trying to do. g3, h4, is your plan h5, h6? A bit slow. Just play f5. And here this already works because d5 is hanging, and this would destroy black. As the position opens up, his pieces are not ready. Okay, h4. So now the opponent gives up the bishop, so now everything changes. Why did he give up a bishop? It's hard to understand. He has no attack here. But now we have to understand how we should win when we have a piece up. So we have to formulate a plan for our piece. What can be our plan here? Well, either we win with the piece by having more pieces, by attacking, for example, or we try to trade everything off and then win in the endgame. So here trading everything off doesn't seem realistic as the position is quite closed. So it seems kind of impossible to, at this point, exchange all the pieces. So therefore we must think about how to attack. And again, the idea as usual is f5, and this works like a charm because the d5 pawn is again weak. And our goal with f5 is to create a weakness on e6, as well as to open up the f file, which will be used for us to attack on f7. So this should be our plan. So this is what you did. Bishop h3. He is somehow walking backwards, and you finally played the move f5 at some point. Also, you saw that this is hanging because otherwise this wouldn't work. So everything is going according to plan. You took on e6, knight g5, everything is great. So now our plan has been formulated. But also, when we are a piece up, we can afford to do some prophylactic maneuvers because, well, we have more pieces, which means we don't need all the pieces in attack, right? And here the pawn has only one idea, queen takes a3. And if he does this, then also the knight will be able to join. He'll give an annoying check. So we should always be wary of the opponent's ideas as well. As you mentioned, you played a bit more too optimistically, so to say. But it's not like optimistic, because of course you should be optimistic, your position is winning. But it's like you weren't very careful. Played rook f7 after 5 minutes of thought. So I guess you did see this. But even if you calculated that this is not bad, there is no reason to allow it at all. For example, king b2 is an easy move. And what is black going to do here? Next move is rook f7. If he wants to exchange rooks, we can, I guess, exchange rooks by forcing him to take. And next, again, rook f8 can come. Moves like this, bishop g5, trapping the queen. Seems hopeless. Rook f7, this allows black to at least give a check and play queen a1. And this wins a piece. So the engine suggests that this is still winning. But in a game, why are we giving up a piece if we don't have to? Right now, black is up material, which means we must give checkmate. And our attack must succeed. And it should succeed objectively, but now there's pressure on us, because if we don't succeed, we can't win an endgame, right? Before we could win an endgame because we were a piece up, now it's a bit more complicated. So in the game, queen rook to f1 happened, another piece is in the attack, and white is winning because this king is terribly weak and all the pieces are undeveloped. But again, we will need to find some kind of way to win. Knight c6, and here white played rook 1 to f3, but this is a bit greedy. You're trying to win the queen, but if you can't win the queen, then don't make the moves that are trying to win the queen, right? Rook 1 to f3 kind of indirectly looks at the queen. But what is your threat? Is there a threat? If you move the bishop here, he will run away here. If you move it here, he will take the pawn. So we're not actually threatening anything. Instead, you should be looking at the king and go and take the king, so to say. Knight e6. He should take it. The bishop comes. You can take this pawn as well. You can double the rooks on the 7th rank. Eventually, you will need to improve the queen somehow. Maybe queen b1. And it should be winning because of the strong attack. But you're not winning because of this queen, right? This is not the reason that your position is winning. The queen is not trapped. And here, you played bishop d2. And yeah, blunder check would really have helped here. And this looks like it almost traps the queen. But the queen has only one move, and this one move is enough. Where else was she supposed to go, right? There's no other move. So if you thought about the opponent's moves for a few seconds, you would find queen takes d4. Turns out the queen is not only not trapped, it's also taking all of your pieces. Now you're 3 pawns down. The opponent has castled. His king is rather safe. The attack is over. After bishop e6 and queen e5, everything fell apart. And here queen g1 also a threat that was missed. So quite an unfortunate ending to the game. It could have been quite a nice victory, but it seems you allowed counterplay for no reason by allowing queen takes a3. And if this had not happened, for example, again, king b2 or knight b1 even, if he doesn't take this pawn with check, then there's absolutely nothing for black, because your threats are still there, because your pieces are still there, right? You have more pieces, so it makes sense that your threats are unstoppable. So, quite unfortunate, but I think you can learn from this, and good luck next time.